Welcome to Market Makers, everyone. Guys, this is a big video because we've had a lot of volatility. We had an exogenous event. We're going to cover it in the markets, but I think a major rally is forming in Bitcoin and the cryptos at all. You're seeing a rebound in the markets. This is the most bullish time of the year going into this week, all the way out to the end of March, the spring equinox. So I think what we're going to see in crypto is a major rally form. I think you're going to see bullish markets, bullish crypto, especially December, January. I think we get that rate cut December 9th and 10th. The FOMC meets. Unemployment was just a hair under 4.5%. It's been up 3 months in a row. I think they're going to cut. I think that's a major catalyst for the markets. And we have to talk about what's happened in the markets because everybody has a view on the cycle. Nope, that's it. 4-year cycle. Everything's falling apart. But yet the market structure is still bullish. This cycle is FUBAR. So we're going to talk about all of that here in this video. These videos, guys, if you enjoy them, check out Bitunix and SimpleFX. It helps support the channel, be a Market Makers VIP. If you live outside the US and Canada, check out SimpleFX because you can trade everything there. And if you live in the US and Canada, check out Bitunix because you can trade there. It really does help support the channel. You want to join us on our Discord or get our members only videos on YouTube, you can click the join button right there on YouTube. Get Ricardo's market updates, altcoin weekly updates, block state updates, and of course, all the member videos I put out throughout the week. So where are we right now? Well, Bitcoin has had leather put to ass and been beat down. Okay, we're down 36%. Now, remember, before we fell, this last leg of pain, before we fell, we were sitting at about a 20, 22, 25% sell-off, which made sense because the markets were down 3, 4, 5%. And Bitcoin just completely fell apart. And why is that? We talked about this briefly in my last video update last week. Exogenous event. And you've had 2 of them this year, which has totally distorted the cycle. So let's just look at this on my Bitcoin top and bottom chart. But your first exogenous event, this retracement, remember the tariff derangement sell-off, you went down 32%. When did you bottom? The exact same day as the largest market in the world, the S&P, April 7th. By the way, markets video is out next, okay? So you bottomed April 7th, and then you rallied back up, just like the markets did in the strongest turnaround rally in stock market history. You made your new all-time high. And then you started to retrace. Again, totally normal if you've been watching this channel because the markets were pulling back. And then Bitcoin made that last leg very suddenly, very violently to the downside. And the October 10th liquidation event happened. What was that? Well, we now know, just from doing research, talking to the guys on the Discord, reading about it on FinX. If you listen to Tom Lee, he's talked about it in a couple interviews as well. Very large, very old exchange had a depegging event where stablecoin went down to 66 cents, caused a mass amount of liquidations. And in crypto, you get contagion. You had a cascading effect. Lots of people, lots of leverage got wrecked. But overall, the market uptrend is intact. We'll cover that in the next chart. And I'll show you the bearish case too, because you should be happy that there's a bearish case after a potentially massive bullish case, because if you want to go short and we fail at resistance, you can do it at a much higher level and make a lot more money. So we're going to cover all that here, but just looking at our top and bottom chart, my indicator is not the sole reason I think that Bitcoin is going higher. I saw somebody ask about that. Am I bullish because I have an indicator? No, I mean, it's the exact opposite. I have a cycle. I have a cycle, and when I look at the markets, I believe they're going to make new all-time highs. I don't think crypto's done. And then I have market structure showing me that as of right now, we are still holding the higher low macro structure. So I don't think crypto's done. When you have exogenous events, this can distort the cycle. But we look at metrics like the GDP, Atlanta Fed estimating 4.2%. That's robust. But then we have unemployment ticking up again, just a shade under 4.5%. I think we get that rate cut. And again, that's December 9th, 10th. I think that's a catalyst for bullish crypto in December and January. And you may very well be putting in a January top. But we look at this measured by the RMA as well. And again, just I know one thing on here, just the indicator, it's never triggered It's never triggered late going back. And again, Bitcoin hasn't been around very long, but going back to 2013, it has never triggered late. Bitcoin's been around since 2008. Every single time we cross the previous cycle high, within 4 to 5 weeks, we get the absolute top, right? The cycle top. We're at 64K 300. We still have to cross 69K, and now the average is flattening out a little bit because of the price depression. And again, I think you're going to come and be bullish in December, bullish in January. Again, historically, very bullish time of the year. And I think we're going to come up to that 140, 150K Bitcoin. That's just my bias, okay? That's my bias. If anybody tells you that they know what's going to happen, they do not know. This is gambling. Nobody's going to tell you this is gambling that's trying to sell you $1,000, a $10,000 education system. You are gambling, but you can make a lot of money in the crypto space. You just have to play the moves as you see fit. So I'm sharing with you what I see. The bearish case, a pattern I've showed many, many times now over the last year, year and a half in the crypto space, is a market ending pattern, how it could end. If my bias is incorrect and we don't make a new all-time high, what's the pattern? You got peak 1 in 2021, peak 2 in 2021, and then peak 3 over here in 2024, and then you build your domed house. Left shoulder, head, and then the right shoulder. But here's the key, that right shoulder. This is your 3 peaks and a domed house, a George Lindsay pattern. When you did this move, when Bitcoin fell apart after 2021, it fell all the way down 50+% to the downside, right? 50+%. This rally that formed went up just about 46, 47%. And you look to your left. What did it test? Market structure. What did it test? Market structure. Where are we right now? Testing the top of the market structure over here to our left, holding, by the way, the higher low market structure because 80,500 is still higher than 74.5, okay? So you have a higher low market structure, bullish market structure. Everybody says follow the trend, don't fight the trend is your friend. But then when you look at Bitcoin, they say, nope, that's it. I don't care about the market structure. I don't care about the trend. It's a bear market and it's all falling apart. Well, that's not the case when you look at market structure. Market structure's intact. If you take out 74.4, market structure is broken. But this rally that can come here, guys, just understand, we rallied up 46% when we tested market structure in 2021. If we just look at this from the 80K low that we made, go up 46%, where does that take us? That takes us to right about 117, 118 Bitcoin. That is 37,000 points higher than where we are now. So what would I want to do as a trader? My bias is a new all-time high to begin with, but what I would want to do as a trader is participate in this rally, even if it forms the right shoulder, because it would fail at a key resistance point. Then I would short it and then it would go down, okay? That's if I am wrong. If I am right, we're going to new all-time highs, 140, 150K Bitcoin. And you could see that late December into January sometime, right? This cycle is distorted. We're just dealing with the cards that were played, okay? So when you look at this from a Fibonacci perspective, where would that rally potentially fail? You always got to look at the usual suspects. If 80K is the low, which of right now as it is, then you're looking at 108 at the 618, which is drawn perfectly by total synchronicity coincidence there. But 108, 618, 116.5 is a 786. That'd be a totally normal Bitcoin type move. Come up here, you fail, right aligned with your left shoulder, and then you go down. Okay, that is the bearish case for crypto. But the idea that it's just going to keep doing this, see, told you so. That's not how it works, guys. You get massive rallies, especially after major sell-offs. This rally was 46% when you tested the last market structure to your left and to your left. I'm expecting a massive rally. And then we can have that discussion once we get to the 618, 72, 786 in that region. What are the markets doing? What's happening? Are we looking super bullish? Is more money coming in? What's the inflow outflows? Look at all that stuff. You analyze all that stuff. The key thing is, though, is the low end. Because if the low's in, you were in a higher low bullish structure all the way since 2022. So let's just keep moving forward and examining some of these charts. What is something else we can look at for if we made a potential low? Lunar cycle change. We made the lunar cycle change. We got an acceleration and the sell-off on the day of the lunar cycle change. And the very next day, within 24 hours, we put in the 80K 500 bottom. And since then, it doesn't look like it on this chart, but you're up 9% off the low, right? From your low to your rebound high, you're up 9.2%. So can we hold the low? That's what it's going to come down to. Can we hold the low? I think we will hold this low. Can't guarantee it. This isn't a guarantee. This is trading. But I think we will hold this low. And again, we're going to be going sideways. We need some catalysts. We need some money coming back in the market. And we're going to look for that next catalyst for markets to rise. We look at Bitcoin on the daily, pulling our fib from April 7th. What was that key level that we went below and got back above? 85.5 was the 786. That's a key level. So let's throw on the 90% beneath you because that's another worst case scenario. If we got slippage, if we fell apart deeper, that's 79,672, right? You almost got there. So again, you're up 9% off of the low. You want to try to stay above 85.5. Could you come down and retest that 80K region again? Of course you could. Right? It's Bitcoin. You get choppy candles like that. You get a sell-off, you came back up, you retested it, got a little pop, and then you cascaded again. I think the cascading part is done. Doesn't mean the retest part is done, but staying above 85.5 would be very nice and start to get some type of pattern on a daily time frame, which you only got a couple candles here on the daily. Let's go down to like the 3 hour. Get some more candles and just look at the baby steps that you're making so far, right? So here's your low, right? What do you have? You have your low, you have a higher low, right? So you made a high here, automatic reaction, you put in a higher low, you made a higher high, and you're trying to hold a higher low. It's just a baby step, 3 hour time frame, small bullishness here, but 85.5, if you can hold that, that's really nice. And you could have some other levels you could come down and test here. You could be coming back to 83.5. People say, oh my God, we're changing levels again. Maybe, but maybe you're just doing a back test of a prior support region to accumulate again and come up. What levels does Bitcoin need to flip to really start making some progress? We'll look at your key levels. If you can hold 85.5, the next level is 94.2. So ultimately, you want to see this, however fashion it wants to do it. If it starts compressing at like 89K, whatever, you want to see this shoot up, take out 94K. That's the 618 from the April 7th low. Prior support becomes resistance. You want to get above these candles. That's the next major progress leg, is to get above 94K. Where you are right now, you're still in the pains of the sell-off. Bitcoin's been beat up more than an OnlyFans girl doing her first Brazzer shoot, okay? So this is where you're at right now on Bitcoin. Flip 89, flip 94. Definitely try to hold your low of 80,500. And if you can hold 85.5 or just slightly below at 83.5, that's bullish. When I say bullish, it's small b, because we don't have any type of breakout. We don't have big momentum to the upside. We don't have a catalyst yet. That catalyst may very well be Fed cutting. You look at the 3 hour canary, RSI, I mean, obviously you're up more off the lows, volume's up, you have higher lows, momentum's up, but again, it's a 3 hour time frame. Let's look at this on the daily. Daily's going to take longer to correct. You got massively oversold. Volume's holding still, getting an absorption line, and you can see here on the momentum, you're just now starting to get a little bit of a curl. Again, you don't have any momentum. No progress yet. Nice rebound. Now it's about holding the lows, getting some market structure, watching the markets rally, rotate money. Bitcoin is beta risk. Once we see the markets are bottom, remember, when people say things to me on X, I see people say this all the time. Man, everybody's so bullish, that's why it's going down. What are you talking about? Who's bullish? Investors are positioned very bearishly. You see the outflows that happen in the ETFs. You see record puts on the tech sector. Again, what is adjacent to crypto? The tech sector. Nobody's bullish except maybe a couple of guys you watch on YouTube or something. The positioning, the sentiment indicators, everyone's mega bearish. As a matter of fact, fear and greed actually hit What did it hit? Did it hit a 4? I think it hit a 4. It definitely hit a 5, but it may have hit a 4 last week. So everybody's scared, everybody's bearish, and people are telling you things like, whoa, we closed 2 weeks below the 50, so now it's definitely a bear market. I mean, I'll go over that in another video because we're already 15 minutes in, but that really holds no validity. No validity at all. You have different reasons that that can happen. And I look back in the market cycles and examined it, but we'll go over that in the next video. But looking at this again, I mean, this is just a rebound. You want to hold these lows. You want to make some, progress here to the upside. We look at Ethereum. We're going to delve into the altcoin section now. So this will be our autistic section of the program. But we look at Ethereum. Again, basic market structure. Low, higher low. You still have a higher low in Ethereum. Remember, market structure is intact in Ethereum as well. Where do we sell off to? The 618, 2750, as you guys know, is talking about was the likely target. You got below it. You're back above it, 2795. That would be great if you can hold it. If you can't hold it, where are you likely to go to? You're likely to go to 2384 in this range between there. So 2400 to 2750. Why? Because you got all these candles here. That's also a possibility. Right now, you're using the top of them as support, but you could get slippage into that region and still have a higher low structure intact. Where is it wrong on Ethereum? Again, where is the bias flip? Because I have a 6K target on Ethereum. Where does that bias flip? The bias flips if you come back up, you rally, and you get hung up. The kill box, 618, 786. 4100 to 4500. If you get hung up there and break down, then you just made a massive double top, and I would be looking to short. But in the meantime, I'm looking too long, right? I want to see if these levels hold because I think we have a nice run up of at least a couple thousand points to the upside before I have to make a major decision on what happens in Ethereum. I think you'll get a big rally. So that's what I'm looking at Ethereum. We look at this on a 3-hour time frame. Carry over those fibs, guys. There's your 618, 2750. Same exact structure as Bitcoin. You put in your low, you put in a higher low, you rallied up, put in a higher high. Right now, you still have a higher low. This is just 3-hour time frame. It doesn't mean anything in the grand picture of things. You just have 3 higher lows, 2 higher highs here going in this little bullish structure. But Ethereum's bouncing around. It's 28.19. The level to hold is 27.50. Ethereum will get more bullish above the 50% fib at 31.69. You squish this in and look at your candles there. You can see you had a cascading breakdown that formed after you lost the 50% fib. So again, baby steps. Got to get up there. Some type of catalyst, whatever it is, and then you want to hold 31.69. Start climbing the ladder back to the upside. So as of right now, got a nice little bullish pattern, 3-hour time frames. Maybe you get a little Livermore pivot out of this thing, take out that fractal, come up to another level, and start just getting this look. And then maybe when I do another market update, we'll be like, hey, look, Ethereum's sitting up here now. Remember the last video and everybody thought it was falling apart and it was at 2,800? Well, now it's at 3,200. So let's see how this plays out. But right now, this is a recovery period off of a strong, stark, steep, deep sell-off. And you're doing a little bullish micro market structure on a small time frame, 3-hour, 1 hour, 4-hour. But this is good. It's baby steps. Hold the low. Hold 2750 is nice and bullish after this recovery, and definitely hold 2620, okay? You want to hold those lows. So let's look at Solana. Solana is at 130.78. I like Solana. By the way, I think I said this last video. I don't remember. I talk to so many people every day, but the 2 coins I'm looking to really trade is Ethereum and Solana, right? You guys have seen me do a lot of Solana trades in the past, but I really want to get on the Ethereum bandwagon as well. But looking at Solana, I like what I see on Solana. Again, here's your April 7th low. Solana retraced all the way down to the 786, actually got past it. But again, higher low structure from where? It's relative, from April 7th. Massive rally. When you measure these rallies, you say market structure is broken, you went up 165%, and then you just gave up 78% of it, but it's still a higher low structure from the April 7th rally. And I think ultimately you're going to see something like I showed you in the last video update last week. I think you're going to see some type of W structure, just like you had this W here, right? You get this recovery, you get this low, high, midpoint, higher low, breakout to the upside. I just think you're going to see that on a larger scale here This is the daily time frame, but you're going to see something like this. This could just end up being a massive W. And this is how I get my $350 to $500 targets on Solana for the upside. And again, this could come out into January, guys. Timing is the most difficult part, especially when you have exogenous events. So let's just see how it all plays out. But the key levels to watch here on Solana, 129 at the 786, right? You came all the way down to 121. We'll go to the small time frame, but you came all the way down to 121. The 786 is 129. If you lose 121, 111. That's a 90% retracement. That you really need to hold 111 if you lose 121. But as of right now, you're holding 130. Everything seems like it wants to try to stabilize. Oversold on Solana, higher lows on the Canary RSI. Volume's got a little bit of a rebound. Momentum still bearish. It'll take longer to recover. You go to the 3-hour time frame on Solana, exact same pattern as Bitcoin and Ethereum, okay? You put in your 121 low, automatic reaction, made a higher low, and then you level change to get on top of your trading range, which is right there at the 786, 129 from the April 7th pull down. So where does this get a little bit more bullish? Just like on Ethereum, let's take out that fractal at 144, but ultimately you got to flip the previous support fib, which is now resistance. You got to flip it to support again. So 155, get Solana moving up from 131 here at current price, take out 144, get on top of 155. You are making bullish progress as you do that, okay? If it happens quick, happens slow, I do think at some point we're going to get a big God candle, because I do think, not just on Solana, I mean in crypto in general, I think at some point there'll be a euphoric moment. And again, it could easily be with the rate cuts, right? If we get that rate cut, you may get a God candle, just like we saw back in April at the lows, and everything level changes very quickly. Very quickly. And then everybody that poo-pooed all this down here and missed out on accumulation zones, then they're going to say, oh, well, now I'm just going to wait for the short or whatever. And then what happens if that short doesn't come and you make new all-time highs? You're going to be waiting a long time. You can always short. There's always times to short. You guys know I love the short. You make money 3 to 5 times faster. But I think the trajectory after these lows is higher prices. And it's definitely higher prices, at least to a failure point. And that's the key thing, the key takeaway I want to leave with you guys. We look at Solana on the 3-hour. Canary turn more bullish. Volume's up, higher lows, momentum. Again, nothing dramatic to the upside, but small bullish uptrend off the low. If we look at XRP, XRP retraced 90% to the April lows at $1.82. Small progress, got back above the 786 at 205. You're at 209. Next key level to flip is 240, right? Got to get back above 240, put you back up here. And then, of course, you have 264 above that. But you at least want to get back to equilibrium of some of these candles, give yourself some ability to chop around, and you don't want to keep dropping on XRP. What was that low? Your low over here on April 7th was actually $1.62. You're at 208. You go below $1.62, that could be very bad. That's a different fib pool. Cover that in another video if we need to. But as of right now, you're at 209 on XRP. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely give me a follow on X, and I'll see you guys in the next update. Market video is out next.